I got a couple emails about a video to review about somebody coming to Vietnam as a tourist, but they jumped around a bunch of cities and they wanted to know how accurate they were about what they were saying, because they were kind of talking very high about the obvious cities, but they were talking kind of bad about the most common cities. So with that being said, guys, let's get into this video. This is about Jose, the nomad, I guess. He came out to Vietnam for 60 days and he jumped around a bunch of cities and he kind of shared what he thought. Let's go ahead, without further ado, let's jump in this video.
The first place I went was Ho Chi Minh City, and it was not really my vibe. It's a big city, very busy. People are not so friendly. It's just not really my vibe. There's no beach also. But it was nice to experience. There's crazy walking street at night. And also the shopping in Saigon is really nice. It's really affordable and there's so many options. But I was only a few days there.
Alright, so when it comes to Saigon, he's completely right. It's not a vibe a lot of people get. Saigon is an acquired taste. It's also where teachers go to be teachers and work. It's the best spot to get a job in Vietnam for people that are not Vietnamese. And if you are Vietnamese watching this, Saigon is probably one of the best spots to get a job for you. And as he mentioned, the people were kind of pushy and rude. I've talked about this on the other videos. When you're in tourist areas, the vendors and stuff are going to be a lot nicer to you because they're trying to get that money. But once you get into the city area, you're going to start meeting the real people, like the real Vietnamese. So things will get a little more pushier. And it is loud, it is wild. They went to Bui Vinh. You saw how empty Bui Vinh was. This is right when the 30-day visa got released so we could go back to Vietnam. Bui Vinh was dead for it had to be 3 months. But definitely Ho Chi Minh City is an acquired taste that a lot of people, they love it or they hate it. There's no real middle ground.
Nha Trang. Nha Trang is a smaller city on the coast of Vietnam and it's actually really beautiful. We got this amazing luxury accommodation next to the beach for only $20 per night. So it's really amazing. It's just incredible experience to stay in this kind of place and still it doesn't break the bank. And also the food is really amazing in Nha Trang. It's like $1 to $3 per meal. And the locals in Nha Trang were so nice. I think they're not so used to having foreigners there so much, so everybody's super excited and happy to see us. And the beach was definitely the highlight in Nha Trang. It's just so beautiful. It's so clean and well put together, and also the views to the mountains and the city and everything is so unique and really beautiful. So it was pretty perfect place to focus on health and fitness and relaxing and also some work.
So Nha Trang is a really good city. It's still in South Vietnam. The cool thing about Nha Trang is you get to see a lot of the war stuff during the Vietnam War. There's a lot of mountain areas where you can see old lookout points and stuff like that. In regards to the city, the water's a lot cleaner. In regards to shopping and tourism and stuff like that, there's a lot. There's a lot out there. There's so much Western stuff to involve yourself with when it comes to shopping. In regards to the Vietnamese being happy to see them, they haven't seen people in a while. Again, this is 2023. There hasn't been Western people there in a while. So they were kind of right after the lockdown, right when the 30-day visa was getting rolled out. They were just popping their heads and hey, what's up, guys? And the Vietnamese like, oh my God, they're allowed back.
But the next destination in Vietnam for the next 30 days, I was even more excited, and that is Da Nang. Da Nang is pretty similar to Nha Trang. It's coastal city, but more in the middle part of Vietnam instead of the south where Nha Trang is. And Da Nang is bigger, so it's more local and it's more like an actual city. And one of the nicest things in Da Nang is that the ocean water is so clear and so blue, so it's really nice to swim there. Because in Nha Trang the water was not so clear. And in Da Nang you can even surf and bodyboard on the beach. There's also quite many Western food, so you're not only stuck with the Vietnamese food, but the Vietnamese food is also amazing and really affordable again, but also the Western food was really good. There's many nice options, and also it's the most affordable Western trendy cafes I ever seen in my life, so that's pretty awesome. And the locals in Da Nang are so friendly. I was surprised how smiley and just friendly they all are. And one thing I really loved about Da Nang was that it was really active. All the local people so active. There's always something going on the beach, like a group fitness lessons or dancing or something. And also of course people always surfing and doing bodyboarding, so it's a really nice vibe to be around. And the cost of living in Da Nang also was pretty awesome. It's easy to find apartments. There's so many options in Airbnb and Agoda for $300 to $500 per month. And generally the air quality was so good in Da Nang. It's so fresh air.
Da Nang is an awesome spot, man. If you're out there for surfing, awesome. If you're out here for tourism, amazing. If you're out here for shopping, dude, everything. You literally have real Gucci stores out here. The hotels are really good. It's quite cheap. It's quite cheap. It's rather cheap compared to the others, like the train, for example. That was something I noticed out there right away. Was hotels, renting bikes, just eating and living was a lot cheaper than I thought it was going to be, because Da Nang is a massive spot for expats and people that try to retire in Vietnam. So I was expecting the prices to be dominantly high. It's not. It's actually quite cheap. So you do have that. And he was talking about the surfing in here. Amazing spot to go surfing. Like the water is rather warm. It's clean. This is something too that's special about Da Nang is the water in Da Nang is actually clean. The food is crazy, bro. It's like this is the only city in Vietnam where international food is actually I would say it's good. Like when you get to like Hanoi or Saigon, stuff like that, the international food absolutely sucks. Like it doesn't taste like anything. It tastes like Vietnam food, which is fine. You're in Vietnam, but you don't order a Spanish burrito and it tastes like pho in a piece of bread. And in regards to the English out here, if you speak Russian, you'll actually have a better communication experience with a lot of the Vietnamese here than you will if you only speak English. And I started to sound like the other YouTubers were like, the best spot in Vietnam is Da Nang. It truly is. Like it is truly one of the best spots in Da Nang, hands down. You can't down it anywhere where anywhere else in Vietnam would be better than Da Nang in that respect. Like the weather is good, the food is good, the cost of living is good, the community is awesome, the expat community is awesome, the Vietnamese are amazingly happy here. It's very active. It's very westernized, but it still has that Vietnamese culture mix in there. It's just, there's nothing really negative about it. And it's on the beach, and you don't have to worry about tsunamis and stuff like that. Like, even natural disasters aren't a thing. That bridge, the Dragon Bridge, it's really cool to see. And if you go there on Sundays, it'll breathe fire. Like, they have a lighting system set up so it breathes fire and water and stuff. It's really cool to see. But when I got up close to it, it blew my mind how cheap it looked. Like, it's just pieces of flat steel just, like, bolted onto each other in a formed way that makes a dragon. You know what I mean? I always thought it was like rounded and kind of, it was more of a artistic build, if that makes sense. But it's just metal slapped on each other and bolted together. And it's, when you get up close to the Da Nang Bridge, it actually looks ultra cheap. The cool thing is a lot of people that come out here are typically expats. So they already do work. They already have a MacBook. They're working at coffee shops. So to be a teacher out here is actually a lot easier than a lot of people think. In regards to like driving, Vietnamese culture for driving is like the bunch up in the middle of the road, block the oncoming traffic until your light turns green. In Da Nang, people actually drive like humans. There's rarely traffic jams to that extent. People don't drive on the sidewalks. Obviously, you can park on the sidewalk in certain designated areas, but if you're just chilling driving for 5 kilometers on the sidewalk, I've seen this a few times, but people have been kicked off their bikes, and it wasn't only the police doing it. Rent out here is very cheap. It's like $300 to $500 to get you well. If you want to live super good, $800 to $900 will get you a really nice condo. Like we're talking everything, bro.
But the only real minus of Vietnam is that you can only have 30 days visa. There's not really any options other than that.
Okay, so this one's changed. This is actually an older video. Yeah, this is like a year ago, so 2023. I had to look at the calendar. 2023. So there is now a 60-day visa. So if you want to stay, no, 90-day visa. I'm sorry. So you can stay for 3 months at a time. Typically, you renew that twice. So 60, you can stay here for like 6 months. Again, there's no way to retire in Vietnam. After 6 months, you can't return on a tourist visa. It's how Thailand, it's how Malaysia, it's how Cambodia, it's how Laos works. All these countries are the same. Vietnam is the exception. It's no longer that. So if you do want to stay here long term, get a job. Check out the eBooks. Get all that stuff set up. Get a work permit. You stay here for 10, 20, 50 years. Who cares? Stay as long as you want. As long as you keep that job, you can stay here. And option 2 is to get married. That'll give you a temporary residency card up to 5 years at a time. You can renew it while you're here. And that's another option to stay here long term. Again, both of these options are temporary residency cards. It doesn't mean you're going to retire and stay here. You're not a permanent resident. You're not voting for anything. A temporary resident card in Vietnam is just making you visa exempt. That is the only right you're given in that respect. So that's kind of it for that video, guys. So hopefully I answered the question for you 3 guys that sent me this video. In regards to like just staying in Vietnam, what he said is pretty damn accurate, man. Like, Ho Chi Minh City is an acquired taste. It's the same with Hanoi. Most horror stories in Vietnam come from Hanoi. The North is different. I like the North better when it comes to living outside of the city. Like when I was in Lao Cai and Lai Châu, I loved it. Dude, I seriously loved it. When you're in like what are those cities called? I forget. Hai Phong is another one. I love being there. I stayed there for like 6 months. I loved it. Halong Bay absolutely sucks. Like, this is just my opinion and like a million other people, so don't take our word for it. But it's a great spot to go for the day, but it just place sucks. Central Vietnam is amazing. South Vietnam, it's a mix of everything, which is cool. You got Saigon, which is a busy city. You got Phan Thiet, which is a beach town. You got Da Lat, which is a very nice farm part of Vietnam where they have like the strawberry farm and stuff like that. So there's so many things to see all over Vietnam. And even though most of the tourism is very redundant, when you get to these other cities, you can start seeing really beautiful parts of Vietnam. When it comes to this stuff, this video today, this is a big reason why I still love being in Vietnam, is because of places like today, because of the experiences of being in Hanoi Bay, even if it's for a day, and the life of Ho Chi Minh City and how it is. Like, these are the hidden gems of it all. And at the end of all this, it's ultra affordable. If you're living in New York City right now, bro, your 1 month cost of living in New York City would hold you down out here for like 4 to 6 months. I'm being serious. I've seen your rent. Like, you would be okay out here for half a year. That's insane. So let me know if you have any other questions, any other videos you want me to review. Check the email below. Send them there. With that being said, guys, I'm going to get out ski. Till then, I will see you again.